Hello, this is Leslie again, and this is the follow-up video to my pop-up window cards, and I thought I would show you the cards and the supplies that I used. The first cards that I did all were based around similar idea, and I used, obviously the main focal image on all of these cards are some gorgeous girl stamps, and I can't remember the name of this particular one, but this is the one that has the headphones in. There she is, that's the stamp set she came in. And then this one, this is, I think she's called the Fox for obvious reasons, and this is the card, the stamp set that she came in, and it's just, she's got some little foxes and leaves and nice corner in there as well, so that's her. And this one, I think she's called the Dreamer, I'm not certain, but this is the stamp set that she comes in, and she's the stamp that I used in this set, in this card, sorry, and in this card, which I was having a go at different hair colours on her, as you can see. I also thought I would show you the dies that I used for different windows, because there's so many that work. You've probably got something, if you've got any dies, you've probably got something in your stash that will work already. The first one I used is one that is designed to make shaker cards with. This came with some dies that cut out tiny little pieces of confetti. I end up with tape on all of my dies. And it cuts just the aperture window with a nice stitch detail around it. And that's what I used for this one. I used it portrait for that one. I used it landscape on this one. And to get the black border around, all I did was cut it out some black cardstock, which I taped to it, and then once I'd cut it, I actually trimmed, literally left it stuck to the die and trimmed around the outside with my scissors. The next one that I did, I think, was this one, and this is one of those dies that came from Amazon, from a generic Chinese company probably, so I don't know, it doesn't have a name that I know of. And this die, it was literally 2 pieces, and this only cuts the aperture, so this is the piece that cuts the window. So as you can see, that's what that one cuts, and it came with the circle, the stitch circle, which you could just use as a panel as well. So that one came, they came as a set, and that's how I cut the black outer on that one. This one is a, I think this is a X-Cut, which is the Do Crafts brand of dies, and it's like a little Polaroid window, and it comes with, I think, words selfie and the XOXO for the hugs and kisses, and memories I think it comes with as well. So it comes with a few different word dies which are intended to be cut into it and left in this bottom piece, which is, and it came with the happy, so that's what this is from. So the black, you can see, is what I cut with that, but because this is attached and it's not one of those that you can detach, I couldn't get a window unless I did the whole thing. So what I actually did was I just went through my stash to find a die that would fit inside that, and this is one of the Spellbinders sapphire ones, which I've had for quite a while, and this comes with some different sized ones as well, but it was part of a set and that just fit in there perfectly. So that was what I used to make the window. But if you didn't have one to cut an aperture, because it's square, if you were quite good with a craft knife or scissors or something, you could probably cut, what you could have done was put your die on the card, drawn round with a pencil around the inside and cut that out. That would have been another way to do it. So that's that one. And then the last one I used on these cards was this one, which is another Spellbinder Sapphire, but it's just a simple heart. So a lot of people have things like hearts. So just showed that whatever you've got in your stash, you can probably find something if you've got some dies to cut apertures with. The greetings that I used on them were from, on these ones, it was from a couple of different places. I used this happy birthday on a couple of them. That's on that one and that one. And this is an old magazine freebie set called Everyday Sentiments that came with Making Cards magazine quite a while ago. So that was the happy birthday in that set. Also the Princess stamp, that is from this set, which came with Creative Stamping magazine, and it's this. All I did was mask off the happy birthday part and just use the word princess on the inside of this card. So that's that one. So I stamped the princess. I don't think they've got this anymore as a back issue, but I know that Craft Stash do a smaller version of some of these stamps that maybe include sort of this set or this section. I'm not sure where exactly this is, but I think on Craft Stash they've got versions of this stamp set in smaller groups, so you might be able to find some of these. And I think all the rest of the other stamps, I've done that one, on these cards and on the Fox card, all came from this one set. So that one we've done. So these three all have, so I used the birthday, I used the wishing you up here. So this is the birthday and the wishing you. And then this one is there, that one. May your birthday be full of all your favourite things. And also wishing you a wonderful birthday is in there somewhere. There it is, that one. And this is a set that's also from Do Crafts. It's one of their larger sets, but I think it's a really useful set because it's got so many different birthday greetings in it that you could stamp on the inside of your card as well as on the outside. So it's got some larger things that you could put in the centre of a card or on the inside. So I think that's everything on those cards. The next set that I used were, I've had little mermaids sitting in my stash that I stamped tons and tons of them as an example of using the Brother Scan and Cut to cut out outline images that you'd stamped, and it's what I bought my Brother Scan and Cut for, and I did a comparison on how to get the best out of it. And these were ones I'd coloured and I had them still left over after having used them as birthday cake toppers and badges for my daughter in March for her birthday, and made lots of cards as well. I still had a few left in a bag, so I thought I'd pull those out. And these mermaids are from, this is a MFT, which is a American company called My Favourite Things. So that's this stamp set. I can't remember the name of it, but the sentiments on here, sending you oceans of love, also came from this set, and I've used this set a few times before. And the dies that I used on here, that was this one that I showed you in my previous video, and I don't know where this one's from, I'm sorry, I can't remember, I've had it a little while, and I did get it specifically to use with these mermaids. So I covered up the fish that are on the die, and there's another little piece to it actually as well. So that bit actually is in the middle, and that cuts out some little fish as well, but I wasn't using that piece and it's just come out the centre of mine. But I cut out the fish on these ones, and that's also the same one that I used on this card, this one that's not quite finished yet. And that's those ones. So that's the background die that I used, and I just coloured in little pieces of it with pro markers to tone in with the background, and I thought I'd show you that because it's quite an interesting cardstock. The Craftwork Cards Marble and Ombre set, which was 300 GSE, so it's quite a thick cardstock. So this is the card that I used in the panels in the background. And the last thing on these cards that I used was this die, which is another generic one from Amazon. Again, it doesn't have a name that I'm aware of, but that's what made this bubble outline here. And then the bits that were left over, I've still got a few which are going to go on the seahorse card. They were what I used here, and all I added to those was a few little sequins. So that was how I did those ones. The only thing to say about this one is that the seahorse and these shells, they came from a magazine freebie, which I can't find the magazine that they were from, so I can't remember which magazine they were on, but they were on a magazine which had some stamps, and it had a stamp to match the little shells, and it had the seahorse die in it as well, but I can't find it at the moment, so sorry, I can't tell you, but it was definitely a UK magazine freebie that those seahorse were off. So that's what was on those ones. Oh, and the circle aperture, that's literally just some tonic circle layering dies that come in different sizes. So I used one of the smaller ones to cut the hole, and then stuck the two together to cut the frame, and it was the same size hole on both. Just this one I decided to frame her to match in with this. So that was those ones. I think I already showed previously the pandas that I haven't finished that are going to go in my landscape card. They're from the Stampin' Up! Celebration Party Pandas set, which is this set, and they're rubber stamps. I think there's two other things to show you. This is the ombre cardstock, which came from the same Craftwork card set, and hopefully you can see I just loved that it was ombre, and that was why I bought the set. But what I didn't quite realise was that it was ombre along the length of it, so it worked well for the top folding note cards because you don't lose all of the ombre effect going down it, whereas if I'd cut it the other way I would just have had the dark green and wouldn't have been so much ombre. And the purple card was purple and red. It fades from a red through to a purple as well on the same one, and that was the one that I used on the top folding gorgeous card as well. So that was those ones. And then I think I forgot to say on these cards, the black and white strip on all of them was really very quick to do. I used it on 4 cards, and I thought it went well with her little tights, being black and white. It was so quick to do. That's just some washi tape, so I keep an eye out in places like the Works and places like that for just plain pattern bits of washi tape that work well. So rather than having to stamp something or cut a cardstock strip, this is just a piece of washi tape. It's very forgiving. So that was the line that I used on all of these, and it just helped to balance the card because these panels you can't necessarily choose where your aperture is going to end up. So because this isn't in the centre, having something down one side, I thought that just balanced it a little better. So hopefully this little video has been helpful. You can see some of the things I used, and that pretty much, hopefully, if you've got some dies, you've got something in your stash that you can use to make these types of window pop-up cards. So hopefully I'll see you on my blog again sometime soon. Bye!